Greetings, old school magic players, and welcome to the Four Horsemen.
Greetings, old school magic players, and welcome to the Four Horsemen on a Sunday night. I'm here with John Eccleberry, and tonight we're going to be doing a tournament number 11 quarterfinals match review. John, how you doing?
Great.
Thanks for being here, and thanks for helping me with the commentary tonight. Got some new music on the soundtrack, and we're going to be covering a match that was part of our Tournament 11 quarterfinals. For the viewers, check us out at fourhorsemenmagic.com. This tournament ran January 13th, and we're wrapping up on February 10th. Quick look at the brackets. As you see here, we had some playoffs that had to be played before the quarterfinals rounds. And for the match today, we're going to be reviewing the match of Damien versus William. This is a very interesting matchup. It's a Living Plains deck versus a white weenie, what I called Argivian Transmogrant deck. And John and I are going to do a quick deck tech and overview before we get into the match. So let's start with William Kuhn's deck, which I dubbed Argivian Transmogrant. John, you have William's deck up?
I do.
So what do you think of William's build here?
I like White Weenie traditionally, and he seems to be playing all the best stuff at his disposal in this format, because you don't have access to, all the ABU creatures that you would normally be playing in White Weenie. So he's focusing in on the good stuff that he can use. He's got some creatures of protection, some creatures with Earth Strike, some flyers. Preacher is pretty great. Really, the archaeologists that can get stuff back from the graveyard. Got a lot of utility going on, and he even has a King Suleiman in there to deal with all of the Ifrits that get played in the format. Yeah,
I love that. I love King Suleiman. He's really strong in this format. Yeah. So William's deck's very unique. No one else has played successfully White Weenie. I think William has played versions of this deck before. I think he's played in 4 of the 4 or 5 of the Four Horsemen tournaments over the last year and a half, and he's run different variations of this same deck, and he's done very well with it in this tournament, making it into the quarterfinals. What is most interesting about this deck is the way he uses Ashnod's Transmogrant, and he combines. There's not a ton of removal in Four Horsemen, and there's not much removal at all for white, but he's been able to very innovatively come up with a removal combo using the Ashnod's Transmogrants to turn creatures into artifacts, whether it's his opponents, or he can actually use it on his own creatures to pump them, so it's both an offense and a defensive card. And he uses Dust to Dust and Divine Offering to remove those creatures. Really innovative play. What do you think about that, John?
Yeah, it serves a dual purpose too, because he wants to use those just to pump his creatures. Whether he wants to pump something that has evasion or protection, that's great. If he wants to pump something to save it, that's good. If he wants to make a giant artifact creature so it doesn't die to the abyss, that works too.
Yeah.
And then on that, like you said, he can also turn his Divine Offerings into removal spells, or his Dust to Dust into removal. It's a pretty flexible card. I like it.
Yeah. Okay, and he's got a few other, special utilities in his deck. He's running one Jaloom Tome, a Factory, a Pendlehaven, so that he can pump his 1/1s. It's a one of, a Maze of Ith, a Strip Mine, a single Diamond Valley, a single Karakas, and a single Safe Haven, which allows him to kind of, protect his creatures from either instants or enchantments, things like that. So he's got some very interesting utility in his lands as well. He's also running a Felden's Cane as a one-off, and he's running Angelic Voices, which allows, if he only controls white and artifact creatures, then all of his creatures get +1/+1. So it's kind of like it's like a Crusades for his white and artifact creatures. Kind of pricey, but mid to late game, not a big deal and very powerful.
I mean, Crusade's still good, and also that gives him another use for the Transmogrant. If he steals something with Preacher that's not white or artifact, and it turns off his Angelic Voices, he can make it an artifact creature, and then it's turned back on.
Yeah, that's right. And he's running three Thunder Spirits, which are 2/2 flying first strikers, and whether he puts a Transmogrant on it and makes it a 3/3 flying first striker, or brings out the Angelic Voices, or both, and he can make it a 4/4 flying first striker, those Thunder Spirits can become really powerful. And probably the most powerful recursive combo he has is in the upper right. He's running two Argivian Archaeologists. So once he uses his Transmogrants, he can activate the Archaeologists and bring the Transmogrants back to his hand and play them again.
Exactly.
I played William in the pre-quarterfinals playoffs, and his deck was very, very, very hard to deal with. He has so many intricate little mechanics and combos. There's so much intelligence and creativity and innovativeness in this deck, and it's in these intricate details that you find how I just think creative this deck is overall.
Yeah, I enjoy it. I enjoy a good White Weenie deck. It's cool to see these decks ported over to this format and the changes that have to be made and the additional innovations that need to go on them to make them playable.
Yeah.
And he's really been committed to this archetype. Like he's played it a few times in order to kind of refine it. And he made top 8 with it, so that's great.
Yeah. In his sideboard, he's got a couple more Angelic Voices, some Spirit Links, some Greater Realms of Preservation to ward off black and red damage. He's got a couple of Tomard's Crypts in case, you get some All Hallows Eve decks. He's got a Millstone and another Felden's Cane to complement his main deck Felden's Cane. An extra Jaloom Tome. He's running a Knowledge Vault, which we're seeing more and more players are catching on that Knowledge Vault is like the Ancestral Recall of the Four Horsemen.
Right.
It's one of the few mass draws other than Jaloom Tome. And then he's got 2 more Dust to Dust, so he could fill out his deck with 3 Dust to Dust and 4 Divine Offerings, and with that recursive Transmogrant and the Archaeologist, it's just a really strong combo package.
Yeah, I really enjoy it.
Okay, let's take a look at Damian Burzum's deck. Damian is running Karakas Tabernacle Plains Drop with his Drop of Honey, his Karakas Tabernacle of Pendril Vale, and the Living Plains combo. We did a review of this deck in the top 8 preview reviews and predictions. This deck is also just very creative, completely innovative, and totally out of the box.
Yeah, I really, it's funny how we see things come in and out of fashion. There's a couple Living Plane decks in this tournament, and they all did really. I mean, 3 of them made the top 8, right? There's 3 Living Plane decks in the top 8.
Yeah. That's right.
So that's pretty impressive. And they're not. None of them are really the same build either.
Right.
They all started with the same premise, of course, but they all went about it in pretty different ways. I like this. I like this build. It leans to the control-y.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he's running any creatures, is he, at all?
No, it's totally creatureless. He's just running a bunch of enchantments that neutralize the creatures with 4 drops of honey as well. And then, of course, the Tabernacle making all the creatures cost 1 on their upkeep. So, yeah, totally creatureless deck.
Yeah, I dig it. Tabernacle's really hard to deal with, just even by itself, without, the Living Plains combo going on, with these go-wide aggro decks like this white deck.
Yeah.
Sometimes just one Tabernacle can just kind of ruin your game because, it screws your tempo up. You have to stop playing stuff in order to pay for your guys that are out already, and just hope that you have enough to finish the job before they get their plan together.
Yeah. And, the real tricky and interesting dynamics of this deck that Damien built is, even when you do get your creatures out, let's say you get 2 or 3 creatures out, well, he starts to neutralize them with a gaseous form or a brainwash, and you're having to pay the Tabernacle upkeep costs. And, by the time you get your board established, well, then he's dropping a drop of honey into play, and then creatures are dying every turn. He's got, in the lower left, he's got some really cool mana drains with some alternate art here. He's also playing 3 Divine Offerings and 1 Desert Twister in case he needs to get rid of, a permanent that is causing him problems. He's also got a couple of Islands of Whack-Whack, a Maze of Ith, and a Strip Mine. And he's running 4 Untamed Wilds that allows him to mana ramp and get his basic lands out. This is just like such an interesting deck. And he's running 4 of all the main things that make the combo. 4 Karakas, 4 Tabernacle, 4 Living Plains. And interestingly, he's not running a Jaloom Tome, so he's doesn't have the tome to like ditch his extras. He's just going all in 4x of every one of the combo cards he needs.
Yeah. I mean, I do think that consistency is important. Although it would have been, I probably would have played Jaloom Tome just to ditch, extra copies of things that are now dead cards. You can, with Sylvan, you can do the trick, because he's playing 4 Untamed Wilds. He does have a shuffle mechanism, so he could put things back on top of his library and then shuffle them away and potentially get better cards. But even still, it would be nice to be able to exchange cards in his hand. He's not playing any recall, right?
No.
So,
no recalls.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, the 2 main deck Flash Floods that are sitting above the mana drains, I guess he was figuring red was going to be everywhere, and maybe Rook eggs and Rook tokens are going to be a big problem for him. I think he could have sideboarded those and put in a couple of Jaloom Tomes there instead to help him cycle away some of these duplicate cards.
Well, it's interesting, right? Because last tournament, red was kind of everywhere and Rook tokens were everywhere, and so he made that meta call that didn't turn out to actually carry over to this tournament where people moved on and played other decks. But it's really tough. It's tough in a small format like this to gauge what you're going to be going up against.
Yeah. And looking at his sideboard, he's got 2 Knowledge Vaults in the sideboard. That's really interesting. He's got Fasting, which is like a card we never see. A couple more Greater Realms, a couple more Islands of Whack-Whack. So he could end up with 4 Islands of Whack-Whack if there's a predominantly flying deck. A couple of Flash Counters, 2 more Flash Floods, and a 4th Divine Offering. So really, really interesting sideboard.
Yeah, really hedging towards red, though, with 2 main board and 2 sideboard Flash Floods.
Yeah. Yeah, Red must have been eating his lunch, and he needed to really hedge against it.
Yep.
So really cool deck by Damien, and Damien is famous within the group for always brewing something that's completely out of left field. He never makes a single ordinary or regular deck that anybody else would be brewing. And we got to tip our hat to Damien for always coming up with something really cool.
Absolutely.
All right, so that covers our deck review. And now I think we can get into the match with Karakas Tab Plains Drop versus Argivian Transmogrant. Or Argivian Transmogrant. Alright, let's switch over to our video. Alright, John, are we ready?
Let me pop mine up here and you can tell me when we're going to go.
Alright, let's hit it.
Boom. Going.
Okay, so we've pre-recorded this match, and John and I are going to be kind of just given the play-by-play. The first thing that stands out is obviously William's on the right and Damien's on the left, and William's playmat is very cool and very unique. I don't think I've ever seen this playmat before, but Damien's also got a cool playmat with the Foglio. What is this?
Master.
Yeah, Presence of the Master. It looks like William's taking a mulligan here.
They're great.
Yeah, Presence of the Master is a card that is completely relevant and viable in Four Horsemen, and we haven't really seen many folks playing it yet.
No. Well, I think White's a little underrepresented, and maybe an aggro deck like Williams doesn't want to take time to play a card like that that's free cost.
Yeah.
But it is one like super enchantment answers that we've got to work with.
Yeah. Okay, so William is taking a mulligan here. And
perfect for an aggro deck. Want to get a fast hand out of the gate.
Yeah. Yeah, and in my match with William, he mulliganed too. I think William's gotten very good at knowing like what hands are keepable and what's not keepable. I think he's also gotten fairly skilled at, aggressively mulliganing into better hands.
Yeah, absolutely.
So this is interesting. William gets his Karakas out early, and that Karakas it's a card that really makes a difference in Damien's combos because it can bounce other legendary permanents, right?
Mm-hmm. It has to be a creature, I believe. It bounces only legendary creatures.
Legendary creature, right. But once the Living Plains comes down, the lands become creatures. So that's kind of how the combo works with Damien's deck is he gets a Karakas of his own, and he can bounce back his own Tabernacle so that he doesn't have to pay the upkeep because it's a legendary creature land at that point.
Right.
Yeah, return target legendary creature to its owner's hand. So early on, William gets his Repentant Blacksmith, which were very, very challenging for me to deal with in my match with William. And Damien neutralizes it by putting a Brainwash on it. So William has to pay 3 to attack with it. And also, the Tabernacle is out, so there's an upkeep of 1. So it's a really brilliant combo there to kind of slow down attacks and make you pay.
Together.
Okay, so William plays a Preacher, and Damien plays an Untamed Wilds, so he's mana ramping here. Now, the Preacher's interesting because the preacher can allow William to steal lands away from Damien once he turns them into creatures with living planes.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
But now he's going to have to pay an upkeep of 2 each turn because of Tabernacle. He does have a strip mine. It seems like it might be a really good idea to strip that Tabernacle here before Damien gets the living planes out.
Yeah, or before he gets his own Tabernacle or his own Karakas to protect it. I really think he should be destroying it.
Yeah. So he did not pay the upkeep on the blacksmith, the repenitent blacksmith, because they had the brainwash on them. So he let them die.
That seems all right.
Yeah, because they were brainwashed and basically neutralized. So, that's interesting because the brainwash effectively put the blacksmith in the graveyard. He paid the upkeep.
Well, nobody wants to employ a brainwashed flunky.
Right. But he did pay the upkeep on the preacher, and it looks like he attacked with the preacher.
Interesting.
Looky there. There's the Karakas, John, you were just saying.
Oh, man.
Oh, yeah, that's not good. Oh, my God. And the living plane comes out right away. Holy crap. Now, this is interesting because when the Living Plains is in play, now the Karakas has summoning sickness, so Damien cannot tap it. No, Damien cannot do that. Damien cannot do that. That is a error. I hope William calls him out on it. Yeah, so he's talking about it right here. Yeah. William is very astute and knows a lot of the rules here. Yeah, so that Karakas has summoning sickness and he cannot tap it in response because it can't tap the turn it comes into play. So that's, I think, a misplay error on Damien's part, but very well played by William.
Yeah. Yep. And that's the kind of misplay that when you make it, it might cost you the game.
Yes. John, are you able to hear the music?
I have the volume off on my end and only hear it through your speakers so that we don't get any reverb.
Okay. I wondered if the music played through the Facebook Messenger audio like it does on Whereby.
Oh, only faintly.
Yeah, I've got it turned down. So it seems like that Whereby augments the music for some reason and the Facebook Messenger doesn't.
Well, I think Whereby might also modulate the sound in some strange way because it gets louder as the match goes on.
Yeah.
Even not turning it up, so it must continuously adjust the volume.
Weird.
But that doesn't be a problem here with us just on a regular call.
Yeah, it's much better, I think, this way. Okay, so William is hitting for a few damage with the wolves, and is he taking control of one of Damien's lands, or is he attacking? He plays a land tax here. Now that's interesting. Yeah, so William's attacking with the first striking Tundra Wolves, which are very good in this scenario, first strike ability, and then he's taking control of one of Damien's lands with the Preacher, a land of his choice.
He really, that misplay where he played the living lands the same turn that he played the Karakas is, I think, going to cost him this game. I haven't watched this match prior. I don't know. But it appears that that's what's going on here.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really unfortunate for Damien because that's making a big difference. And with William having his Karakas in play, if Damien ever does play a Tabernacle, he can just bounce it back when it's convenient for him. Now, Drop of Honey comes out on Damien's side. Okay, so Damien elects to untap the Preacher. The island comes back in, but that will have summoning sickness for Damien.
I wonder why he gives it back. I don't really know what the point is of giving it back.
Well, it allows him to land tax, you see.
Oh, well, that's neat.
Yeah, the land goes back on Damien's side. Now Damien has 5 lands. William has 4, so he's able to land tax and draw his 3 planes out of his deck.
Yeah, which are, basically like getting 3/0 drop 1/1 creatures in this situation, which is pretty good.
Yeah, yeah, it's very, very well played by William, letting that land go back over and allowing him to trigger the land tax. So William has so many clever mechanics in his deck. It's really, really interesting to see him pilot this spicy brew. Okay, so he's coming in with a land and a Tundra Wolf. And then he plays another Blacksmith. The Blacksmith are very good in this scenario because they're a 1/2, whereas the Living Plains lands are 1/1s.
Yeah, that is big up. I mean, he can just destroy the Blacksmith with a drop of honey, though.
Yes, since it has the same power, so it won't last long.
And of course, he likes to destroy Preacher first, because that's the more annoying one. But I have a feeling that the Wolves or the 1/2 will go. Okay, so who's he brainwashing? The 1/2?
The Tundra Wolves, yeah.
Okay.
Williams putting the dice on the Tundra Wolves there to show that they have the 3, pay the 3 for the brainwash. And it looks like a gaseous form also on the Blacksmith. Oh my gosh, that's rough. So in one turn with 2 enchantments, he's neutralized both of his creatures, and then, drop of honey eventually will eat them away. Okay, so it looks like what happened there?
He's just swinging with all his lands.
Ah, okay. All right, so he's going to block with 1 land, it looks like, and he loses the plains, and now he's playing Pendlehaven. Of course, that's with Living Plains in play. That's a land creature as well. Now, oh, look at this! In response to Damien's upkeep, William is tapping the Karakas to return it to his own hand, so that Damien can't select it as part of the drop of honey.
Interesting.
One of the things I learned about drop of honey is you can't do anything. You play instance or react or things like that once the drop of honey triggers and targets. So you basically, the opponent, the player with drop of honey has to say, okay, drop of honey is triggering, and then the other player can do whatever they want to do. And then once drop of honey targets, you can't do anything with that creature that it's targeting. It's in the Gatherer. It says you can't take any actions once, in between the time it's targeting the creature to be destroyed and when it's destroyed.
That makes sense.
So you can't pump it with the Pendlehaven or do other things. And we talked about this here in this match. I looked it up and we oh, what's going on? No. I think I unmuted and I'm talking with the guys. I'm reading them the text here, the Gatherer text, explaining that Damien has to announce the drop of honey trigger, and then William can respond before the target is chosen, but after the target is chosen, he can't do anything until it resolves. So he's going to put the Karakas back in his hand like he was originally thinking about doing, I believe. Now, here's an example, John, where chiming in and talking about the rules and looking at the Gatherer and discussing it openly with the players and letting everybody know this is what the Gatherer says, this is the Oracle text. So what Damien is choosing instead is he's choosing the Pendlehaven, because William is able to put his Karakas back into his hand, and then the trigger effect of destroying the land from Drop of Honey triggers.
Right.
And Damien chose Pendlehaven. So here's an example where if we hadn't have chimed in for, to talk about this rule and the Gatherer text and the rulings there, it would have been, Damien would have, he was telling William that he was choosing the Karakas. So the Karakas was going to go to the graveyard if we hadn't discussed the rules correctly.
Right.
So now William is able to trigger land tax again because Damien has killed one of his lands. And so now he gets to get 3 more planes.
Pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty.
Hey, John, you still with us?
I am.
Okay. Your audio cut out for just a second there, but it sounds good now.
It's funny, your music got a lot louder too, so I don't know what's up with that connection. But
oh, interesting. Yeah, it started a new song. I'll turn it down a little bit. Okay, so he's got still both of his creatures are kind of neutralized with the brainwash and the gaseous form. The brainwash is on the Tundra Wolves, and the gaseous form is on the Repentant Blacksmith. Let's see, what is William doing here? I'm going to turn the volume up here.
So, yeah.
Divine offering on him.
Ah, yes. Okay, so he plays the Ashnod's Transmogrant.
Playing my Karakas.
And he turns Damien's Karakas into an artifact creature and then divine offering it. Because Damien had just played it, so it had summoning sickness, so he couldn't tap it.
Nice. Man, he's really keeping him off of his combo.
Yeah, Karakas is so critical to the combo. Now, and William played his own Karakas for his land for turn, and when Damien's Drop of Honey triggered, Damien selected the Karakas. So William felt like he made a play error there by playing his Karakas at all, because it just got destroyed by the Drop of Honey. Now he's coming in with all 3 lands, I think, as an attack.
I mean, he might as well. His hand's full of planes. He can play more. And if, Damien blocks, he just loses stuff too.
Yeah, so Damien just takes 3 damage here.
Wow.
And he's getting pretty low. He's down to 7 life. What do you think, John? Should we switch to 1.5x speed, or you think the 1.25 is good?
We can, for game 2, turn it up, or we could turn it up now if you want to. I mean, this seems to be a good speed for seeing all the plays. And...
Yeah. When we were doing 1.5, like, things were happening so fast, it was a little difficult to catch everything. So, this is, I think, a pretty good speed. So Damien gets Sylvan Library in play. That'll help him dig for cards. And you know what's interesting here is, okay, so William is attacking with his lands, all 3 lands. Damien blocks with 2 of his lands. And so William loses 2 lands, Damien loses 2 lands, and then he plays a Safe Haven for his land for turn. What do you think of Safe Haven? It's a pretty tricky little card.
Well, he's playing 4 creatures, so like if he, it's not good against Damien, but if he plays against somebody else that has creatures in their deck, he can steal them and then just throw them under the Safe Haven.
Yeah.
And just keep doing it and, board wipe them slowly. It's kind of neat. It can also be used to shield one of your own guys,
Yes, exactly. If they play an instant or an enchantment or something. So he ends up attacking with the Safe Haven, and Damien blocks with the Island of Whack Whack land that he played.
I feel like by the end of this tournament, William has had more than enough of Drop of Honey.
Oh, man. Yeah. He's probably going to petition to see it banned from the format like Moat. Right? Okay, so now all of William's lands have been destroyed by attacking and Drop of Honey, and now his blacksmith is destroyed as kind of the last.
He's got enough life though that he can just let that Drop of Honey destroy Damien's lands.
Yes.
Well,
now Damien's attacking with his 3 lands and getting in for 3 damage there.
Yeah, but then the following turn will only get in for 2, and then after that only 1.
Mm-hmm.
Assuming he doesn't play any more lands.
Yeah.
He probably.
Yeah, William just put a plane straight into the graveyard and passed.
Yep. Right, there we go. Wow, he really destroyed his blue source. Like, that's kind of interesting. Because he's got 2 Savannahs out. He must really want that double white or double green. Well, I guess he'd still have double green with the other one. But he must white for something.
And now he's playing a Karakas here. That's interesting that he would play that. It seems like he would let the Drop of Honey eat his lands, but he's sacrificing one of his own Savannahs to the Drop of Honey, and then he's attacking to get in 2 more damage.
Yeah, it's weird. Maybe he just thinks he can race, but I don't know.
Okay, and then the Drop of Honey kills another Savannah. Now, what Damien should do here is he should pop his Karakas back into his hand, and then the Drop of Honey will be dead. But he's attacking with it. Oh my gosh, I think that's a mistake. He should just pop that Karakas back. Oh, he's sacrificed.
But I don't think he wants the Drop of Honey to be gone.
Well, it was going to be gone anyway. It ate his Karakas when it didn't have to. He could have popped the Karakas back into his own hand.
Well, he also could have popped it back right there.
Yeah, I know.
Right.
All right.
Like that.
So it's dead, and then he plays a Tundra. Weird.
I think he's around for an extra turn just to keep William off of one more turn. But yeah, that last time he could have just popped his land back before he lost.
Yeah.
Surprising that he didn't. But he might have just forgot about it. I don't know. Flash Flood, discard. There's one of those board Flash Floods that doesn't make any difference in this matchup.
Yeah, he certainly doesn't need that. Okay, so now William starts playing his planes out, and he's able to get an attack in, and all the lands have summoning sickness, so it's a bit slow. Damien's at 5, William's at 10. He's able to come in with 2 lands here. So Damien takes it and goes to 3. Ouch. This is quite the difficult match that these guys are entangled in here. The living planes really complicated.
There's more back and forth there would have been given the start of the game. I really thought that when Damien left himself open to having his original land destroyed for his combo, that he was just done, but he kind of got back in it. I mean, he did 10 damage, but fortunately, William just had so much life that I don't think it matters.
Well, plus he was able to land tax and get those extra lands into his hand, and he's just dropping lands every turn.
Yeah, that was huge to have all those basically free creatures. He's just got a bunch of free 1/1s.
Right.
It's almost like he's got a token generator.
All right. So that's game. William gets in with his lands for the last few points of damage, and now they're going to go to sideboard.
I enjoyed watching that match. Some of our top 8 matches have been a little lopsided, and I feel like that was a pretty entertaining.
Yeah. So let's go to the decks and let's look at the sideboards real quick while the guys are sideboarding here. So let's start with Damien's deck. Looking at Damien's sideboard, what do you think he's gonna? What changes would he make here?
Oh man, none of that stuff is good against William's deck.
I mean, he needs to take out the 2 flash floods for sure.
Yeah, but what does he bring in? Just like the knowledge vaults or something?
Well, the flash counters would be good against Damien's divine offerings. So
that's true. I guess that.
Yeah, I would swap out the 2 flash floods for the 2 divine offerings.
I mean, I guess Damien does have, or William does have flyers in his deck, so he could bring in the Island Walks if he wanted to.
Yeah.
But
I think the Desert Twister is so expensive. And I didn't see anything that was like a must kill kind of thing. So I would take out the 2 flash floods and the Desert Twister, and I would put in the 2 I'd put in those 2 flash counters, and the only artifacts Damien had was the Transmogrant, so he really doesn't need those divine offerings. So because the Transmogrants can just be tapped, Although once that creature becomes an artifact, Damien can divine offering it. So I think I would take out the Desert Twister and the 2 flash floods, and I'd bring in the divine offering and the 2 flash counters.
Yeah, okay. That seems reasonable.
Those knowledge vaults are sitting over there calling my name. I mean, he might side in a knowledge vault.
I mean, maybe why not? I don't know though. He's playing against an aggro deck, so it's not like he's just going to be sitting around.
Yeah,
he does honeys and stuff though, so maybe drawing cards is good.
Right.
It's interesting. William also has a knowledge vault in his sideboard.
Yeah,
I don't in this match, but it's cool to see people playing that card.
Right. So let's look at William's deck and see what William would sideboard. What do you think William's going to sideboard here, John?
Well, he could take out. Even King Suleiman, that's not gonna kill any Djinns or Ifrits, is still a 1/1 creature. I mean, I would hesitate to take creatures out. I feel like he should probably shoehorn those angelic voices in, if he can. Although I guess those would just get turned off if living plane gets played, so maybe those are bad too. I mean, I don't know. Maybe he just shuffles up and doesn't sideboard anything.
Well, I think the 1/1 creatures like the clergy are not good against living planes, so I would probably sub out the 2 clergy and maybe the King Suleiman. That gives me 3 cards. I think I would put in an extra dust to dust since I've got those transmogrants, and I think I'd put in the millstone and maybe one of those angelic voices, or maybe even the Jalum tome. I also think that I don't know if he needs the Diamond Valley here, but the Diamond Valley does work well with Preacher. He does have a Jalum tome main deck, so yeah, I think I would just take out King Suleiman and the 2 clergy and put in a millstone, a dust to dust, and an angelic voices. Okay, these guys are getting back into the match here, so let me switch back over. It looks like William mulliganed and has put 1 on the bottom.
Mulligan both games.
Yeah, well, he mulliganed both games.
Good though. It's a good. He's getting a better hand, getting an aggressive hand. Hopefully.
Yeah.
I just keep staring at that playmat with that fallen with that crazy red hair. It makes him look
yeah, it's pretty
wild.
I
love it.
And it looks like there's little devils over there in the background. Are those stone throwing devils or?
They're demonic hordes.
Demonic hordes. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so Damien draws his 7. And it looks like Damien took a mulligan as well, right? Because he just drew 7, and now maybe he's going to stick that one on the bottom?
Yep.
So they both mulliganed. Oh. What's going
Better
on here? Damien mulliganed. He just put 3 cards on the bottom. So Damien mulliganed 3 times. Oh my god.
Whoa.
Wow. He must have had...
That seems unwise.
Wow. He must have had some horrible hands.
Maybe just no lands or something. I don't know.
I mean, that's crippling for Damien. I mean, that's almost like insurmountable right there.
Look, like lopsided advantage. You've got one guy that mulled to 4, and the other guy plays a land tax on turn 1.
Oh my god! Yeah, that's probably game right there. And look, there's the millstone, exactly like I was predicting.
Huh. Well, you love millstone.
I do. I confess. It's always a good plan B.
Anything in this matchup? What is the point of it?
Well, right there, you see he millstone and he got a living plains and a mana drain. It breaks the combo because you can actually get the combo cards into the graveyard.
Just take 2 random cards off of his library. There's just more copies of those cards in his deck.
There are. You're right. But yeah, I think that's what William's thinking is he can try to disrupt the combination. Since he requires 3 card combos, he can millstone.
But he can just mill lands off the top and get him to the combo faster. You don't know what you're doing when you're shooting in the dark with a millstone.
Fair enough. Okay, so he mills him again and plays no land and no creatures. So William could just sit here and millstone him now for the rest of the game.
It's super weird. It's super weird, but maybe it's a win condition if you get it out early enough.
Yeah.
I do imagine in a 60 card format that it'll be able to hit him enough times with it. But you know what? I'd like to be proven wrong. I want to see him just mill him out.
Well, right now, William can just not play any lands or creatures. Oh, but he's electing to play the Karakas. Yes, I can see why he would want to play that. And he plays a Tundra Wolves. So now that he's got the Karakas out, he can defend himself against Damien's combo. Oh, look at there. Strip mine right away. Oh, wow. Okay, so he mills on the way out. Island of Whack Whack and a Tundra. So now Damien's lost, let's see, it looks like a Maze of Ith, a Brainwash, some lands, a Living Plains, and a Mana Drain, a Whack Whack. Oh, wow. And William's just hitting in here with the Wolves now. He's electing not to pump with Pendlehaven, saving it for mana.
A millstone in.
He wants the millstone, yeah. And Damien is not playing lands either because he doesn't want to trigger that land tax. Oh, but he gives in once he gets the Tabernacle. Okay, and William mills in response a Mana Drain and a Divine Offering into the graveyard for Damien. I mean, William's off to a very strong start here. Now William can land tax, but he elects... Yes, he's electing the land tax, paying the upkeep on the Tundra Wolves. Okay, the Tundra Wolves are coming in again. I mean, he's just going to plink him. And
yeah. Seems like a pretty good position to be in.
Yeah.
I mean, finally got enough plans that he can start pumping that thing to Pendlehaven too if he wants to.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Land and shuffles his library. That just is, but answer anything.
Yeah. Okay, so Damien does his Untamed Wilds, and he's able to go grab an extra land. He's already got a forest and a island in play. He only has 5 basic lands in his deck, so he does find a basic forest and is able to play that. Of course, it has Summoning Sickness. Oh, no, it doesn't. Living Plains is not in
So,
play.
did Damien and Peter consult at all with each other when they were building their decks, or were they?
Yes,
completely...
yeah. Peter told me that they played a ton of test matches, and they both worked on their decks together. And ultimately, Peter decided to go a different route with his Sandstorms and things like that. But I counted it up. There's only 16 cards difference between Damien's deck and Peter's deck.
That's a lot. 16 is a lot, but I'll tell you, Sandstorm is brilliant.
Yeah.
In Living Lands build.
Yeah. Okay, so the Millstone there gets a Desert Twister and another Mana Drain. Yeah, I mean, he's only got 2 of his cards so far for the combo, but the Living Plains was early, got milled early, so that's a big one.
Yeah, he's thinking about whether he wants to pump it. Of course, go for it. You've still got 2 left for your...
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah, why not? Exactly. Okay, so he comes in with the Wolves. He's paid the upkeep on it already. He can pump it with the Pendlehaven, get in for 2 damage, and Damien's down to 16. And he discards a Preacher. So he's discarding now.
Certainly his, bag full of answers is there for a reason, but it is kind of funny to have to play these enchantments on 1/1 creatures. It's just a little sad. Like, there's just nothing better for him to neutralize, so, he had to use a Gaseous Form on a Thunderwolf.
Right.
Which William didn't even bother paying for. He just let it go, because there's no way that he's going to get rid of that enchantment.
Right. Yeah, so here comes the power of the land tax again. William gets 3 more planes. But Damien now has 2 out of the 3 cards he needs for his combo. He's got the Karakas, he's got the Tabernacle. He just needs the Living Plains now. Okay, so William plays a land. He's at 5. Damien's at 6 land, so he can still land tax next turn. And he just discards a... Did he just Yeah, he's just discarding. I wonder if... I guess he suspects... He discarded a Tundra Wolf, so he doesn't want to pay the upkeep from the Tabernacle, and he's discarding creatures.
That is interesting, and it's a strategy I don't think I quite fully understand.
Maybe he suspects he's about to put the Drop of Honey into play.
Maybe.
So Damien wins the changes here. He can get another basic land.
Well, why not just play 1 Tundra Wolf so that at least he has something swinging every turn?
Yeah, and he's got the Pendlehaven too, so he could have been hitting for 2. So I really don't understand why William did that either.
Maybe he just made the decision that he's not gonna win with damage with him still at the life. But I think I'd be trying to get in there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. Okay, so Damien plays an Island of Whack Whack, passes turn after he does his... Interesting, he did the Untamed Wilds, and I guess he got another basic island out. There's your islands.
Yeah, beautiful.
Now, Damien printed his own. He was like, hey, don't worry about mailing me. He's like, can you just send me the graphic and I'll print mine? and he did. He printed some of his own.
Nice.
Yeah. Okay, so William's electing to play land here because Damien has 8 lands, so he's still going to be able to land tax. But he's discarding a Diamond Valley and another Plains. He's just discarding like crazy.
The final Millstone hit double Tabernacle.
Oh, looky here. Divine Offering on the Millstone. Okay, 1 last Millstone. He gets double... Yeah, that's right. Double Tabernacled, right?
I'm slightly ahead of you, I guess.
Oh, you're a little bit ahead. Okay, should I skip ahead a bit?
I'll just pause for a second.
Okay. All right, so William's taking his turn now. He's triggering land tax.
Yep.
And how many planes does William have? He's land taxed so many times, and he's gotten 3 planes. He's just getting all those lands out of his deck. It's really interesting what William's doing. He's not playing any creatures, and he's just millstoning. But now the millstone is destroyed, and Damien gained a couple life, so he's back to 18.
Yeah, so basically, like, I mean, what's the difference if Damien has 25 cards or 40 cards left in his library? It's just irrelevant. Like, that millstone just didn't really factor into the game at all now that it's gone.
Well, if they play long enough...
Back with Archaeologist, I suppose.
He could get it back with the Archaeologist, that's right. And if they play long enough, he could run Damien out of cards.
Yeah, potentially. But I don't think he hit him enough times to do it. We'll see, though. It's interesting that he finally plays a creature, but he plays a flyer that can already be neutralized by the Island of Whack Whack, so I'm just, like, not sure why he would play the Vultures, but choose to discard the Tundra Wolves earlier.
Well, he can attack with the Vultures as a 1/1. Damien can tap the Island of Whack Whack and make it a 0, and then William, in response, William can make it a 1/2 with the Pendlehaven. Right?
Well, if he does it in response to the Whack Whack, it'll become a 1/2 or a 1/3, and then it'll become a 0.
Oh, yeah.
And he can't do it after the Whack Whack because then his creature's not a 1/1 anymore.
Oh, right.
In the Pendlehaven. So it's just like a real dead. It's just a real dead card. Those Vultures can't do anything right now.
So he's paying the Tabernacle upkeep on it.
I mean, I feel like there's a drop of honey coming any minute now.
Yeah, I'm sure William's feeling the same way. Okay, he plays a preacher.
There it is.
And yep. There's the drop of honey. Wah, wah, wah. Okay, so William's trying to think about what he wants to do here. Living Plains has still not shown up yet. William was able to millstone away one of the Living Plains. So there's only 3 left. I wonder if Damien has it in his hand and he's waiting to play it, or what he's thinking here. William has so many lands, I don't know that it would benefit. He could attack with all those lands. So it might be to Damien's disadvantage to play Living Plains at this point. Plus, William's got a Preacher in play, so he can steal one of them.
Yeah.
But he does have the Tabernacle and the Karakas, so he does have the 2 pieces of the combo that he needs, and he's got the drop of honey in play. So William plays another Tundra Wolves.
So he can use, yeah, he does it too. So I was going to say he held back the Pendelhaven, and I was wondering why he didn't pump the Preacher before, and then I thought, oh, he's saving it so that he can protect it from drop of honey, and that's exactly what he did.
Yeah, that's smart.
I like it.
Oh, and the Vulture gets a counter since a creature died from drop of honey.
Yep.
Oh, maybe with drop of honey, yeah, he can protect his Vulture too, but he can't protect them both, so I guess he'll let the Vultures go.
Probably with Lockout, it would be making more sense to keep the Preacher around.
Yeah.
For another. I mean, he'll only get to keep it for probably one more turn, but...
Right. So he's able to attack for 2 here, and Damien can island and whack the Vultures, and I guess the Preacher's going to get through for 1 damage. And then, oh, interesting. He's going to Pendelhaven the Preacher to protect it, and then the Vulture gets killed by drop of honey. Yeah, that Pendelhaven is saving that Preacher. It's really nice. Uh-oh. Is Damien about ready to tap 4 lands? He is. Double green. Here comes the Living Plains, I predict. Oh, he's thinking about it. He's thinking about it. What's he doing? Tapping of the fingers. He's thinking, do I want to play Living Plains here? Do I really want to play Living Plains here? Is that the right
move? This is at 1.5, so this was a long decision that he makes, because he's probably gun shy from the last time.
Yeah. Are you running at 1.5 or 1.25?
Or 1.25, yeah.
Yeah, so this is interesting. He was about to play Living Plains, but he elected to pass turn. Look at that. Wow.
Check out that weird white bordered Winter Factory. It must be a sticker altar or something to change it for.
Yeah, it's a Winter Factory that's white bordered. What is that? Is it an altar? Maybe it's like a Chronicles or 4th edition that's been altered.
I think that's what it is. Yeah, because it's got like the frame from the 4th edition one. So
he lost his Preacher here. What happened? Did he pump with the Pendelhaven on the last turn? I guess.
Well, it's the last creature finally. So it just got destroyed by drop honey, and then drop honey went away.
Oh yeah, that's right. Since it's the last creature in play. Okay, gotcha.
And there's the Living Plane.
Here it is. Yep. Now the combo is in. Okay, now William's at 20. Damien's at 16. So this has been quite the battle, and they're both at pretty high life count.
Yeah.
We're at an hour into this match already, and something tells me this is going to go on for a while.
Well, I mean, they're in a bad shape now with the combo out, right? Because he can just
Well, but interestingly here, William strip mines a Karakas, and Damien puts a Karakas in the graveyard and plays another Karakas. Oh, that's rough. Oh, that's rough for William. So now William's lost his only strip mine, and Damien's like, yeah, you can strip my Karakas. I'll just play another one. Now it has summoning sickness. William can animate his factory, and he can come in for and he can Pendlehaven hit one of his lands. Oh, wait a minute. No, he's paying the upkeep. He's tapping 5 lands to pay the upkeep on his other 5 lands.
That's pretty.
Oh, look at this. The Transmogrant.
How many cards did you have?
I'm going to turn the volume on here.
I think I have to do the same shit like last time. I would make your Karakas to an creature and
yeah. So he played the Transmogrant. He makes the Karakas an artifact creature, and then he divine offerings it. It's really genius.
Fantastic.
It's such a genius move. Such a genius move. So now Damien is in trouble because now Damien has to pay his upkeep too. And he's looking to see how many Karakas. It looks like 2 Karakas are in the graveyard. So he can draw into 2 more Karakas. But now Damien is in a predicament because he's going to have to pay his own Tabernacle upkeeps.
That hurt.
What a move by William right there.
Yeah, it's very good. But he's just like, yeah, I'm not paying for that. These land spells, and I'll let the other one go.
Yeah. So he pays 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Well, so he could have kept his Wok by paying for it with the Tabernacle. Does Tabernacle add mana or no? It does, doesn't it?
No, it doesn't add mana.
Oh, like all those other old lands.
Yeah, and it still triggers even though it gets sacrificed, so he still has to pay. But yes, he's able to sacrifice the Tabernacle, but now William's scot-free here. So he plays a Felden's Cane. Now he's running one of those in the main deck, which is a very interesting choice to run Felden's Cane main.
He has one main and one side?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, because he can get back all of his Transmogrants and Divine Offerings all over again, and it really works to his favor. Okay, so it looks like Damien's attacking with all his lands here.
Yep, he's going for it.
1, 2, 3, 4. Whoa. What's he doing? 1. No? He's not. He's just untapping everything. Weird. Okay. It looked like he was attacking.
Yeah, it looked like he was going to. Maybe he decided not to, or maybe he was going to cast something and he decided not to. I don't know.
Wilds? Yes.
Oh, he's playing Untamed Wilds.
Hey.
Oh. You should have took my place.
I wonder if Damien has any basic lands left in
I
there.
don't know if I can play it because of the charge.
Yeah, he doesn't have any basic lands left. He Untamed Wilds, but all of his basic lands are in play or in the graveyard.
Nice.
He only has 4 basic lands. He has 1 plains, 2 islands, and 2 forests. So, or I think he has 5 basic lands total. Let's look at it. Let me look at back at his deck picture. Yeah, he's got 1 plains, 2 forests, and 2 islands as his basic lands. Yeah, so he's out of basic lands, so nothing he can do with the Untamed Wilds there. I mean, it's not looking good for Damien right now. But he is at 16 life, so he's got plenty of life. Okay. Oh, he plays another drop of honey. Huh.
Well, I think that's fine. I think William can just race it. I mean, man, Damien's still at 16, but
I think at this point he needs to. That Felden's Cane might actually be relevant because he can Felden's Cane and get his Millstone back and his whole graveyard back, and have. I think it looks like more than half of Damien's deck has been put into the graveyard already. So at this point, William's Millstone and Felden's Cane strategy looks like it's going to be relevant.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know. He might be able to get in there with damage too. He's got quite a few lands he can come in with this turn. Oh, Spirit Link, really? Why?
Whoa, that's really shocking. I can't believe he didn't sideboard that out.
Well, I also just don't really get the point of it. I'd rather just attack with that single land than use it to Spirit Link something.
Right.
And he didn't attack at all. I wonder what the rationale was for that. Something. I mean, he's a pretty savvy player. He must have a reason for doing it that way. I mean, and with Drop of Honey out, it seems that he'd want to be pressing the attack, because then if Damien blocks and kills some guys, it makes the Drop of Honey go away all the faster.
Yeah.
And play the land again this turn, so I don't know. I don't know what he... But
yeah, that's a very curious play there with the Spirit.
I mean now it's not as good because he's, Damien's got all his lands untapped. But if they traded land for land, that would put Damien in a bad position as well. So I don't know. There's the archaeologist. He wants that millstone.
Yeah, that's right. The archaeologist is so powerful. Okay, so William elects to put the Ashnod's Transmogrant on the archaeologist, so he becomes a 2/2.
Yeah, to protect it from the Drop of Honey.
Yeah, so now it's protected from Drop of Honey, so he just loses a land instead. Man, that's a big turn of play right there. That Argivian archaeologist, he can get back his Millstone, he can get back the Transmogrants, and he's got the Felden's Cane sitting in play, ready to trigger if he needs it.
We haven't seen a mana drain out of Damien all night, have we?
No, several of them have gotten millstoned away. So Damien plays a Savannah and sets it aside because it has Summoning Sickness, and passes. Is the Drop of Honey triggering? Did he lose another plains?
He's got one on the top of his graveyard, but it's hard to tell if it's a new one or not.
Okay, so he's tapping 2 white, activating the archaeologist.
Yep.
He's getting back. Is he going to get back the millstone? Yeah. Yeah. My favorite. And he's going to play it again. Yeah, so he's just like, I just got to mill this guy. Oh, looky there. Damien's got a divine offering for it right away. So Damien should gain 2 more life and go to from 16 to 18. Oh, and so interesting. So in response, he activates his Felden's Cane, so he's going to put his whole graveyard back into his library, and then the Millstone is the only card in the graveyard now. And then the upkeep triggers for Damien on the drop of honey, and he kills the plains. So now William's got his whole deck, his whole graveyard loaded back up into his deck, and he can still grab the Millstone with the Archaeologist.
Right.
It looks like Damien's attacking with all his lands now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So he's attacking with 6 lands. 6 1/1 lands. Man, this is a long game.
It really is.
We should have started this earlier. It's really late for you, John.
Well, also it's funny because like I'm thinking, oh my god, what if Damien wins this game and there's a third game?
Well, yeah, we might have to. This might have to be a to be continued match. Oh man,
I have to get part 2. Oh man, all this time later, and we're seeing a land tax trigger.
Yeah. Hey, maybe we should switch to 1/5x. You want to do that?
Yeah, sure.
All right, let's do it. I'm gonna do it right now. All right, we'll speed this puppy up. Okay, so William plays a land. Now they're even in lands. And plays a blacksmith. This other blacksmith has something on it, I guess. Oh no, that's the Archaeologist with the Transmogrant +1/+1. Okay, and he plays the Clergy, so he didn't sideboard the Clergy out.
I like Clergy fine here because he trades with 1/1 land, and then they have to pay 1 to kill the Clergy, and if they don't, it regenerates. It seems fine.
Yeah, that's true. It is pretty decent.
I have the same single copy of that card that I've had for years and years and years. Most of my collection, came and went, and I rebought stuff for Old School, but I've just got this one weird Clergy of the Holy Nimbus that's been hanging out for a long time.
Okay, so another Brainwash comes down. So now the other blacksmith is brainwashed, but he's activating his Argivian Archaeologist to get the Millstone back, and then he's triggering land tax. So now William's got all those lands back in his deck too, so now he can land tax again. That's really good.
Man. So there you go. There's a reason to have Felden's Cane if you want to get your lands back into your deck that are in your graveyard.
Yeah. So there comes the Millstone yet again. This is like the 3rd time. Oh, and finally, Damien has a mana drain for it. Interesting.
I mean, he's just gonna get it back and play it.
Yeah, it's only a delay tactic, right? It's not an answer.
Didn't he do it right now? Like his Archaeologist is untapped.
Yeah, he could tell. He's gonna do it before the end of Damien's turn for sure. Damien's just trying to dig into a Karakas. He's just trying desperately to find one of his other 2 Karakas, and he's not getting it. But that's the other interesting thing. William now has his Strip Mine back in his deck too. So even if Damien does get his 3rd or 4th Karakas, Damien can get lucky and draw into his Strip Mine and get rid of it.
Right.
And William's Karakas is back in his deck as well. Yep, so there he goes. Activates the archaeologist and gets the millstone back.
I'd like to have this millstone back again.
For like the sixth or seventh time. Okay, so he elects not to pay. Oh, so now the tabernacle comes down. And William elects not to pay on a whole bunch of his creatures. He pays for 2 lands, and he pays to keep his archaeologist in play, and he lets everything else die. And then he land taxes for 2 planes. This time not 3, it looks like.
Millstone.
And here comes the millstone again. John, as a quick side note, I was watching some auctions on eBay. There's a BSG 9, a graded 9 Bazaar of Baghdad, and it's up over $2,500.
Wowzer.
Yeah. Holy crap.
Battlestar Galactica 9, Bazaar of Baghdad.
Yes. Okay, so what? So interesting. All right, so William loses all of his creatures here to the drop of honey. And now Damien's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He's got 7 lands. But he doesn't have a Karakas of his own. So Damien's having to tap all of his lands to save his lands, and he's losing 1 land per turn.
Yeah. That is a rough sauce spot to be in. And he's losing 2 lands a turn now because he's losing a land from Drop of Honey.
Yeah.
And then also losing a land from Karakas.
Yeah.
Or from Pendlehaven.
The Pendlehaven upkeep, right.
Should have lost 2 lands there, right? But did he only lose
He did. Yeah, he lost 2. He lost 2 forests. Okay, so William's just electing not to play lands here, which is really smart. Because then the drop of honey just eats away at Damien's lands.
Right.
Man, what a crazy match this is. It's so, like, weird and... like, so many things are triggering and things are dying every turn. And, like, nobody can do anything. It's like Damien has locked himself out as much as William.
And it's 14-16 still. So, like, it's not like anybody's in danger of dying. I really think that Damien might run out of cards this game.
Yeah, that's what's going to happen. It's, like, inevitable at this point, I think.
I take back everything I said about Millstone.
Millstone emerges victorious. It is a good card. I've always said that.
You were right. So he hasn't been land taxing probably because his hand's just full, right? And he's just discarding every turn. And just letting the drop of honey do its thing.
Yeah.
He finally sacked the did he sack his Pendlehaven, or did he return it with his
the tabernacle? Yeah, he sacked the tabernacle because he got tired of paying the upkeep. But now he's just attacking with 2 lands.
I don't know why I keep calling it different land names. It's funny. I'm
Well,
calling it all the different land names.
Well, there's Pendlehaven, and then there's the Tabernacle of Pendrell Vale.
Yeah.
They're kind of like the Pendrell and the Pendle. They're similar, but different words.
I'll take it. They do very different things, though.
Yeah.
What is he? Oh, it's just paying for itself. He's just paying for the factory with itself.
Yeah.
I guess.
I mean, he must have like 3 or 4 cards left in his deck for Damien. It's like there's just no way around this. He's going to lose by running out of cards.
He's like, go ahead, sucker. Just was dead.
Now he should be popping that Karakas back.
But he didn't. He attacks with he just plays another one.
Well, he's gotten William down to 9 life. I mean, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, but like now he's jackknifed. What's he gonna do next turn? Okay,
so now he pops it back, which is what he should do, and then the drop of honey will go to the graveyard.
Why even play it last turn if he's just gonna?
I don't know. Yeah, that was weird. Oh, and that's the last card in his deck. Wow, what a bizarre game. What a truly bizarre match that was.
I like how an aggro deck wins by just not playing any cards.
Right.
That's fun.
Well, okay, so John, that was a really long and interesting match. An hour and a half at a speeded up pace. So, man, I know it's really late for you. We should probably wrap this up.
Yeah, glad we watched that one. It was a really good one.
Yeah, it's a really interesting match. So thanks for joining us, everyone. Before we wrap up here, quick plug for our next tournament. Our tournament number 12 is coming up February 22nd through March 24th. And we'd love to have our viewers out there. We're up to 160-something subscribers now, which is a big jump for us over the last few months. And check out tournament number 12 at fourhorsemenmagic.com. Click on tournaments and go to tournament 12. And John, thanks again for staying up late with me to doing the commentary. And everybody, and everybody have a great night. We're signing off.
Good night.
Good night.
All right, I'm gonna pass out.